Let's talk about something that's happening closer home. Bangladesh, Myanmar and China held a virtual meeting today. On the agenda were Rohingyas. The question the three countries are believed to have discussed is how to expedite the repatriation of Rohingyas. Now you may ask, why does China have a say on this? And you're right. The country put 1 million Uyghurs in detention centers, in open jails, and now it wants to throw its weight around on the Rohingya crisis. Perhaps it wants to avoid international sanctions. It stepped in to play this mediator role in 2019. China told the 74th United Nations General Assembly that it wants to oversee repatriation talks between Bangladesh and Myanmar. The three countries met on the 20th of January 2020. Soon, China exported a deadly virus. The repatriation talks were put on hold. 1 year on, leaders from the three countries have met virtually. Bangladesh has its priority clear. It wants to repatriate Rohingya refugees as soon as possible, send them back home. At least 860,000 of them live in Bangladesh. They fled their homes following a crackdown by the Myanmar military in August 2017, or what the United Nations called a textbook ethnic cleansing. In November 2017, Dhaka signed a repatriation deal with Myanmar. The two countries also signed a document on physical arrangement, to facilitate the return of Rohingyas to their homeland. Recently, Bangladesh handed over a list of 840,000 Rohingyas to Myanmar for verification. What did Myanmar do? It reportedly verified only 5% of these names. Reports in Bangladeshi media say no breakthrough is expected in these tripartite talks. All repatriation attempts have failed so far. First in November 2018, then in August 2019. Myanmar basically is not keen on having the Rohingyas back. They are a religious and ethnic minority with no political value to the government. They fear that their lives will be in danger if they return to Myanmar. At least 6,700 Rohingyas, remember, were killed in Myanmar's Rakhine state in August 2017. Among these were 730 children under the age of 5. 730. Nearly 288 Rohingya villages were destroyed. Amnesty International says the Myanmar military also raped and abused Rohingya girls and women. Myanmar says there were extremist groups among the Rohingya, like the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army backed by Pakistan's Lashkar-e-Toiba. Evidently, it's not a black and white case, and yet to punish and persecute more than 8 lakh people for the faults of a few is plain wrong. A state is supposed to protect its people of all ethnicities, majority and minority, not drive them out of their country. Many Muslim nations have spoken up for the Rohingya, but none gave them shelter when they lost their homes. Most of the refugees now live in camps in Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh. A developing country like Bangladesh has hosted them for more than 3 years now. This arrangement is neither hygienic nor sustainable. Dhaka recently moved nearly 2,500 Rohingyas to the island of Bhashan Char. The island has better facilities and infrastructure when compared to the refugee camps. But then again, Bhashan Char cannot be a long-term solution. Rohingyas belong to Myanmar. They have the right to be able to return to their homes. But this return needs to be safe and voluntary. Because while the world debates and politicizes the issue of Rohingyas, not many want to look at the story through the eyes of these people, the refugees, or through the eyes of the government of Bangladesh that has stretched its means to house more than 8 lakh people, with the world sitting in judgment on their living conditions. WION recently visited Cox's Bazar and Bhashan Char in Bangladesh. We spoke to the refugees. They told us stories you may have never heard of. The documentary airs on Thursday, 8:30 p.m. IST. Don't miss it.
We have the hospitals, we have the clinics, the mosque, plenty of lands for the children for playing, kitchen, gardening, everything is there. We have more than 120 cyclone shelter also.
Out of 13,000 acres of the land, this is the high ground. So we have chosen this area to make the cluster houses.
It is strictly a temporary measure. But eventually the answer is not Bhashan Char. The answer is the Rohingyas must go back to their home. That's where they belong.
I'm Johan Castell, and I'm giving you a ground report from Basanchar in Bangladesh.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.